I had seen some telltales from him when he went to school, as early as when he was in nursery school. First, he could not even learn the alphabets. He could not remember the rhymes, the stories, or the songs they did in school. Any book he would touch is just like flip through. If there are no pictures, that's out. And by, he started hating school.
That is the agony of a mother whose child has dyslexia. What is dyslexia? What causes it? What are the signs to look out for? And what kind of therapy is available for children with this condition? This is what we shall be talking about in a 2-part series about dyslexia. To understand more about dyslexia, we shall talk to a dyslexia therapist as well as a parent of a child who has dyslexia. For Transworld Radio, I am Robert Ucheng. Dyslexia is a learning difficulty that affects one's ability to read and write. A child with dyslexia finds it difficult to differentiate letters like B, P, and D, W and M, U and N, and F and T, since the brain cannot recognize the direction these letters should face. As a result, children with the condition read the word incorrectly or reverse the letters. Joseph Bango is an occupational therapist and often works with children with learning disabilities. He explains more.
The major challenge here is inability or difficulty in reading skills. But again, it can extend beyond that and affect other aspects of learning, which include spelling, pronunciation, writing, mathematics, and, of course, writing skills.
Phyllis Kariuki is mother of Felix. She first realized her son Felix was different when he joined preschool.
Having that I had an area child who was very vibrant, very active, I thought having that he has a role model of some kind in the house, he would pick up, but he was totally different. When he went to pre-unit, that's when they started learning to read words. He had problems reading words. He actually could not read at all. While the other boy could read in pre-unit the very basic words, the 3-letter words, the 2-letter words, but him he could not. I thought it was just like, I'm too anxious, I'm expecting too much, but I was now becoming hard on him.
Several reports by Felix teachers that he was performing poorly in reading and spelling worried Phyllis, and it began to take toll on her son's self-esteem.
I pushed him. Everybody at home was like, why are you not able to read? Why can't you be like so and so? He hated anything to do with reading.
What about activities outside of the classroom?
He was very good. Anything that does not touch books. If you told him to do cleaning, tidy, do anything, he's good. But just mentioned like, you've not done your homework, he would just like get tensed.
One day, Phyllis stumbled on an article about dyslexia in one of the local dailies, and that was her turning point.
I learned he had a problem. When he went on to class 1 now, I think the problem was like became bigger. The more the reading, the bigger the problem. At class 2, that's when I learned the word dyslexia.
From?
A newspaper magazine that had written the word, children who write doi for boy. I would say it was early 2008, so a lot of people didn't have internet. By luck, I had internet in my office. So I went, Googled this word dyslexia, and Winnie, there was so much information. I was like, have I been in this country? Have I been having this thing on my desk and I didn't know this problem? So I went and shared with the teachers and told the teacher, and you know what, I actually have known what the problem with my son is. He has dyslexia, and he's like, what is that? I explained it to him. I gave him the printout, hoping they will read. Another month goes, I'm called again. I was called to discuss the performance. I wanted to find out whether the teachers had actually looked at the papers that I gave them. And to my surprise, the teacher had not looked at it. One actually told me, you know what, Mama Felix, we are so busy, we are marking, we are doing this, we are doing this. I actually have not had time to read that paper. And from that day on, I decided to do it myself. I indulged myself into it. I actually took it up on myself. In less than 1 year, we had seen a lot of improvement. Actually, what I did, I went back to the internet and Googled any website that popped. I contacted, and I'm a Kenyan. My son is 8 years. He has dyslexia and there's no help in Kenya. I got information how to do the assessment myself, which I now, I would say, done the diagnosis, and I was satisfied and very confident that he had dyslexia. Took it upon myself to teach him. I learned how to read with him patiently. We learned how to spell, and in less than 2 months, the teachers were like, Mama Felix, what are you doing?
There's an improvement.
Total improvement. He had gained confidence. His reading had improved. His spelling had improved.
Researchers think genes and brain function might play a big role in dyslexia. Phyllis has a twin sister whose son is also dyslexic. This could easily point to genetics, but Joseph also includes other possible causes of dyslexia.
There are 3 causes that are believed to be leading to dyslexia. One, it is a genetic problem. Scientific studies have discovered that children with dyslexia have got certain genetic disorders that affect the 6th chromosome. It is a genetic problem. Scientific studies have discovered that children with dyslexia have got certain genetic disorders that affect the 6th chromosome. Another possible cause is biological or neurological. Children with dyslexia, the left side of their brain has got some abnormalities in the cell arrangement, and that is actually the side of the brain that controls reading. But again, the environmental factor is a third force that comes into play. So normally there is an interplay between genetic and environmental factors that can contribute to the child having difficulties with reading skills.
When we read, the brain translates the symbols we see on the page into sounds. Then it combines those sounds into meaningful words. Typically, the areas of our brain responsible for language skills work in a predictable way. So if a child has dyslexia, those areas don't work together in the same way. Kids with reading issues end up using different areas of the brain to compensate. Joseph says that dyslexia can easily be identified in children who have just begun school at around age 4, because that is when they start simple reading and writing. He explains more on diagnosis and why early assessment is key in managing dyslexia.
Conducting a reading test is one of the key areas of understanding if it is dyslexia or not. And there are some screening methods that can be used to sieve out the possibility of any other condition affecting the reading skills. So as long as a child has gone to school or not going to school but can be able to access a reading specialist or a special needs teacher or occupational therapist, it is possible to ascertain if the child is struggling with the identification of sounds, retrieval of words, if there is also some aspect of delayed speech or difficulty with the left-right orientation, difficulty with retrieving some words that have been learnt before. A child may be able to master a sound but then forgets it very easily. So if you have got all these symptoms put together, then it is actually an indicator that reading is compromised. So we trend to believe that it is dyslexia.
Dyslexia risk factors include a family history of dyslexia or other learning disabilities, premature birth or low birth weight, exposure during pregnancy to nicotine, drugs, alcohol, or infection that may alter brain development in the fetus, and individual differences in the parts of the brain that enable reading. Today we have learnt about dyslexia, a learning disability that affects reading and writing and is easily identified in early learners when they have just begun school. we have heard from Joseph Bango, a learning specialist, as well as Phyllis, a parent of a child with dyslexia. The possible causes of dyslexia are a family history of dyslexia or other learning difficulties, and environmental factors such as trauma during birth or use of drugs by expectant mothers that affect normal brain development of the child. In the second part of our program, we shall talk about the complications that children with dyslexia face and the treatment available.